Hi everyone, Owlvine here. How are you? It's so good to see you. I have uploaded a video, so it hasn't been that long since you've seen me, but this is the same day that I'm filming, so it's been forever. I hope you're doing really well. I know it has been almost a month, which is crazy. I have my reasons, and I'm finding that this is kind of a pattern that's happening, so, let's talk about this, right? So I have been descending into the underworld. Now, it is autumn here. We're coming into winter, so it's definitely like we're in the thick of autumn right now in Victoria, Australia, and I'm loving it, I've got to say. And I haven't really noticed that every year this happens for me, this underworld journey. And I haven't wanted to admit it, I think, because I love this time of year so much. Bear with me. I love this time of year so much, and I want everyone else to love it too. So I'm like, no, it's amazing. It's autumn and it's winter and lovely and But there is this deep shadow work journey that happens every year. And I think another part of me not really recognizing it is that I find that I'm in a constant cycle of going into the underworld and coming back out again. And I was learning about this in my astrology chart. My North Node is in Pisces. Now, Pisces in this position, or North Node being in this position, I should say, in Pisces, is all about a constant cycle of going into the underworld and coming back out again and going back into the underworld and coming back out again. And when I learned this, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. As I've even looked back through videos that I've done on my channel, so many times I've said, I feel like I'm on a shadow work journey right now. I feel like I'm in a death cycle right now. And it's been at all different times of the year. And I think that's because of this kind of North Node position here. Now, if you don't understand anything about astrology, don't worry about it. Just flow with what I'm saying, right? So it being in this position is all about constantly going into the underworld amongst many other things. And when I learned that, I was like, holy crap, that makes so much sense. And, it kind of normalized it a little bit for me. It normalized my experience for me. So that was really nice. But I do find that at this time of year, it does get deeper. It's like an automatic thing, you are gonna go into the underworld. And I really, every year I'm surprised by it because I don't think I am, because I'm like, no, this is my exciting time. But I realize what it is, the underworld is not necessarily bad, it's not necessarily scary, it's not necessarily full of fear and darkness and blah, whatever, but it's intrinsic. It's about going in, and it's about all the stuff coming out and coming up to the surface, and you're seeing that. We have less distractions around us during these darker times. Now, I know many of you, most of you watching, are in a time where it is light and sunshiny and spring and amazingness, right? So you're like, well, how does this apply to me right now? Because, hello. But this can happen at any stage. We go through underworld walkings at all different times of the year. It doesn't just have to be reflected in the nature that is around us. And in Australia too, I feel like the greater death season really is summer anyway, because everything turns brown and very dead. Right now, coming into winter, we're about to sort of start winter here, the land, the ground cover turns green and lush. It's so lush and gorgeous. A lot of the trees, the upper part of the world, loses their leaves, right? They all lose their leaves, but the ground is so lush. And in summer, it's the opposite. In summer, all of the trees have their leaves and they're lush, and the ground is just dead and dry, bone dry. So there's kind of this topsy-turvy, swilly thing of death anyway. But, this can apply at any time of year is what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout way. So I've been on an underworld journey. And I find that when I'm in these spaces, I go so deep into myself. That's what shadow work is. That's what, underworld journeying is. It's deep, intrinsic stuff. And when I'm in that stage, I find it so hard to come out. And I've noticed, I can see the pattern on my YouTube channel where I'm quiet during those times, it'll be for a month at a time. I think there's several times where it's been a block month, or sometimes a bit longer than that, where I haven't made any videos at all. And I'll have ideas in that time, and I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to make a video. But I'm like, I just want to stay here and stay snuggled and not, not. So I've been in that stage where I've just, yeah. I mean, I said right before I kind of took this time where I wasn't making videos, and it wasn't anything planned, you know, it's just like, I'll make a video today. No, I won't. I'll make a video next week. Oh, no, I won't. Just before I sort of took that time, I said I have so many video ideas, and I do. They're like sitting there and they're waiting and they're like, want to come out, you know. But I've just been like, no, I'm just going to keep to myself for a while. This, I'm sure, will be a pattern. Like, it's something that I actually recognize now, which is cool. Like, I like that. I like when you get an aha. And you're like, oh, I do that. That's interesting. Yes. You know, you recognize this thing that's like a pattern in your life or whatever. So I recognize it now. And it was something that I was really guilting myself with to start off with. Like, you really should be making videos. You've got all these ideas and like people are waiting to hear from you. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I don't have to anything, which is something that I say to you guys all the time. Like, you don't have to do nothing. But of course, you know, when the mirror is turned, you're like, well, it's not so easy to say to myself sometimes or listen to. So I was feeling all this guilt, but eventually I kind of let it go. I realized it's okay, and I realized that it's a pattern that I will probably continue because, you know, having my North Node in Pisces, I always look over here when I talk about my astrology, by the way, because my chart is up on the wall. So I'm always like looking at it anyway, the visual for what I'm saying. Because my North Node is in Pisces, like this will probably be, you know, it will be a constant cycle throughout my whole life. And we all do it already anyway. We all go through death, life cycles constantly, little ones or big ones. But spiritually, this is a big one for me because of this position, or rather this position reflects this thing within me. I think it's a bit more like that with astrology. So that will be a cycle for me throughout my life, and a strong cycle. And the way that I deal with it is by completely going inward and just kind of like cutting off from the world a little bit and kind of putting on my little cocoon and going, I'm just dealing with my stuff right now. And it's been harder this time around from the last time because I have so many more outward things vying for my attention. You know, I have commitments now. And that's been really hard because there's been all these things sitting on my mind. Like, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this. And like, I haven't got to any of my social media stuff for a long time. Like, I've been posting here and there, but I'm so behind on messages and comments and all that kind of stuff. And I feel bad about that. The reason I answer every message and comment is because I want people to know that I value them and that I see them and that I appreciate them. So leaving things for a long time kind of doesn't give that impression. So if that is you, if you've messaged or commented or anything like that and I haven't got back to you yet, I will. And I do appreciate you very much, and I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going through my own little thing right now, and I'll be getting to it soon. So I just want to say that. Yeah, so that's kind of been a hard thing about it too, you know, whereas previously, you know, over the years, I haven't really had any commitments other than, you know, my immediate family, so my husband and my son, and those are kind of a lot easier to manage in these times than more outward things, you know, work and all that kind of stuff. So it's been an interesting challenge this time, but I have learnt a lot about myself, which has been awesome. Like, I'm fine and all that. It's just, you know, it's things coming up. It's all the stuff that's already inside, just like welling to the top to be seen. And I'm like, oh, okay. And this all actually kind of started with my sort of, not a break. I didn't have a break from social media, but I just, you know, haven't been as active. When it was just like, all the pressure of everything was getting too much, and I'm like, I need to release a pressure valve here or I'm going to like burst. So I just went, I'm not going to consume anyone's content for a while. I'm just going to give myself 5 days. 5 days, don't watch any YouTube videos. That's my big one. All right. I'm often on YouTube. There's like most of the videos I watch, I don't comment on, but I watch you guys, right? Like, I watch YouTube a lot, have watched YouTube a lot. I'm not going to consume any Instagram, Facebook, nothing. The first day, oh my God, it felt like, you know, like when you get massaged, right? And it's like painful, but like really good. Like, I could physically feel it in my body where I was just like, oh yes, you know. I just, it was such a relief because I didn't realize, like, it's not the content itself. What it was is that I was putting all this stuff in front of my face to distract from all these other things that like desperately needed to come up and be seen. So the first day it was a relief because it was like I stopped the addiction. There was those moments of like going, oh, like, oh, our minds are so tricky. Like the things I was telling myself, like the little excuses I was making to like just get on YouTube for like 5 minutes and just like, no, stop it, stop it. But it was just absolute relief, like just stopping that for just like, just that first day was like, wow. And then by the second day, I think it probably happened on the first day, but by the second day, like, it was like a welling up of like all of my shit, you know? And I was just like, whoa. Okay, so this is what I've been avoiding by using social media, you know? Oh, I just ripped my chair. By putting all these things in my face, constantly like consuming. This can be the same for anything, right? We can do this with food, we can do this with spending time with people, we can do this with like whatever, reading, blah, everything. Just consuming to stop our own creative flow. It stops our stuff from coming out. It's a real distraction. It's a way to avoid things, and I was doing it hardcore. So the beginning of my sort of little absence here was me like taking that absence consciously, going, I am just gonna like not for like 5 days. And like, it was the most incredible, intense 5 days that I've had in a while. And, you know, and I realized I was descending, you know, into this underworld, into this intrinsic internal space. So that's what I've been doing for the last little while. And I don't feel like I've come out with a whole lot of clarity. It's not one of those times where you like go in and then you're like, oh, like, you know, all of a sudden I have my next 5 years planned, or like, you know, the next month I know exactly what I'm doing, or like I have my goals like down, like I know what's what and what's happening. It hasn't been like that. I'm still very much in the process. What I'm doing right now is I'm fighting the Owlvine demon, right? Like, I'm fighting myself. I stop myself in doing so much, and you know, it's me, like I'm the block that is in my life right now. So just like skirting around and like poking at it and like, you know, 2-step, you know, and then coming back and then like, you know, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. So there is so much that I do want to do. I have plans, I've had plans for a long time, but I'm putting a block on a lot of those. So that's kind of my journey at the moment, my underworld journey. And it's an interesting one, and it's a painful one, and it hurts, and I cry sometimes, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad that I'm on it. I'm really, really grateful. And you know, I do have a love for the underworld. I do have a love for those intrinsic spaces. I have a love for dealing with my shit. I have a love for looking at my shit, right? And seeing it for what it is, and going to those dark places within myself. When I say dark, I mean not previously illuminated, right? Like not previously aha. And getting the aha. I love that. So I don't not love this time, but it is challenging. It is tough. So that's kind of where I've been. That's what I've been doing. I don't know if a lot of that makes sense. I think quite a bit of that was a little bit allegorical. Either one of those two. Allegorical. I think it's with an L. Anyway, so I just wanted to kind of give you an update and tell you where I've been, and you know, that like, you know, it's not like we're not friends anymore. I've just kind of been like, you know, in my cave. That's what I've been doing. I feel like, look, I was going to say I feel like I'm coming back out of it, but I don't really. It's still kind of going on, but I was just like, you know what, enough is enough. I miss my YouTube peeps. I need to be doing this. You know, I want to say hi and like, you know, all that stuff. So that's what I've done. Anyway, I'm going to head now. I think that's probably enough. I can't think of anything specific that I actually, you know, would lend to this conversation. So let's just end this here. Thank you so much for sticking with me and for watching this. What's going on in your worlds right now? Are you experiencing any underworld energies? Now, again, you can be Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, it doesn't matter what time of year. I realized last year when we had a massive hit of like shadow in the Southern Hemisphere, so many people experienced that in the Northern Hemisphere as well when they were in spring. So I don't know if the same thing's going on right now or like what's happening with people. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. I would love to hear how you are and kind of what's going on for you spiritually, if you want to share that kind of thing publicly. I haven't really said this, but if you ever want to send me a message privately, you can do that over on my Facebook page. There's a link down below. There's many of you who contact me and you're like, I don't know if it's okay that I message you, but I'm messaging you. It's always okay to message me. So if you're one of those people that's holding off because you're like, oh, I don't know if like this is okay, you can message me. Message me. Best place is my Facebook page. So in like private messenger thing. Anyway, it's enough for now. I'm talking too much. See, I haven't spoken for so long. I have so many words to get out. So many words. Maybe I should make another video. Alright, you guys, I love you so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the very next video. Mwah! Sending so many blessings your way.